There are very few things that I enjoy more than the actual act of feeding my fish. The opportunity to kind of play God is kind of undeniable. But it's also the idea that you are caring for this environment. I mean, you are putting into there the necessary nutrients to make your animals thrive, but you're also not overfeeding them. Today I'm going to show you how I feed my tank, and you guys can enjoy it with me. First, I'll show you my mixture of what I feed my fish. I make it to be frozen. Obviously, you couldn't make it every day. You can see it comes out in these chunks. Now, what is in this is a mixture of flakes. It's a mixture of some hard pellets. I include some Cyclop-E's, which is like a copepod that has been freeze-dried. And then I also include a complement of Phyto blend for reefs. And this is a powder that goes into the mix. I also found something that I'm going to add for the first time for you guys, and the first time for me too, this Gold Pods, which is like real copepods. And I keep it in a refrigerator, and so I think this is going to be fantastic. But of course, that's not all I put in. The majority of what makes up my blend are 2 or 3 different varieties of shrimp. I find that some of my fish don't like whitefish. I've tried beef hearts. I've tried different types of mackerel and meatier fish, tuna fish. I've tried squid and octopus. Right now, I have not found anything that the fish like more than shrimp, and it's universal. And some are actually more than others, but most universal food is shrimp. So I'm going to seal my food here, put it back in the freezer, and I'm going to do a feeding. Now that I have my frozen food in here, it's about half full with tank water. I'm going to, just for fun, I'm going to throw in some of these meaty copepods. And I'll put in 10 milliliters. And I'll just make sure I don't want to waste any of these bad boys, because I know the fish are going to love them. So now let's go to the tank and get ready for feeding. Now, personally, I have a few techniques when I feed. Some people like to put the food in while the pumps and everything are running, which is fine. But I have a lot of organisms that require a little bit of love and care. I like to feed them directly. And I don't like that food to kind of fall off the dropper and just get distributed through the tank. I also don't like to waste food because I don't want to jack up my nitrates. So I find that if I shut down my system for feeding time, lock off my intake and return, I can really control where that food goes and see some fantastic results with the fish. Okay, so I get below the tank and I have everything hooked up to one power strip. Once I hit that power strip, it turns off my skimmer, my Refugian light, my dosing pump, my return pump, and even my wave makers up top. All of that turns off, making everything up on the top static. So I'm going to power off the tank here. It's going to shut it down, and then I'm simply going to turn off the return. Very rarely do we hear our system completely turned off, but I'm getting used to it actually, because I do it all the time now for feeding. Okay, so now that the water is stagnant, it's not moving, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to feed my fish. In feeding my fish, you start to spread the contents of the food into the water. And what that does is it opens up a lot of the soft corals and makes them receptive to eating. The other thing that feeding the fish first does is it gets rid of the appetite of the fish that would ordinarily steal the food from the corals. You don't want fish stealing food from the corals. You want the corals to devour their own set of food. So I feed the fish and then I wait. And by waiting, I go ahead and I allow the tentacles of those softies to really open up and get ready to accept that food. I do a little spray on each of the corals with the food I intend for the fish to eat. And what that does is I'm not necessarily trying to feed the corals. I'm trying to get their senses open to the fact that it's time for feeding. And what they'll do is they will start to really open up.
Okay, so when your fish have had their fill and you've had your fill of feeding the fish, then you simply turn the pump back on, open up your valves, plug in your overflow indicator, and then get going again.